Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up and play the second installment in our adventure book game line, Comanauts. Comanauts is a cooperative 2 to 4 player game where each player will take on the role of a Comonaut, tasked with exploring the subconscious of Dr. Martin Strobel. You'll travel across coma zones in his mind, solving clues that will help you defeat the inner demons that are holding him hostage. For he is the only man who can activate the Mobius ring, therefore saving the entire world. First-time players need to read the introduction on page 3 of the storybook, which provides the narrative of the game, letting you know about the brilliant Dr. Strobel and why it's so important to wake him up from his coma. This storybook will also be your board for the game, so you need to place it in the middle of the table where all players can see it. The main focus of this video is to show you how to properly set up the game. It can be a little tricky since you need to set aside clues that will help you find the prime inner demon's location and identity without revealing that information to the rest of the players, including yourself. That's why it's very important for you to follow the step-by-step instructions listed in the rulebook. Each player will receive a player sheet and the default status card associated with that sheet. That's these little cards with the exclamation points on the back. When I get freaked out and overwhelmed in real life, I tend to get distraught. So that's why I like to play with the distraught set. And I'll place my status card face down on my player sheet. Events may happen to you in the game that cause you to flip this status card up, and then you would have to apply the effects to your character until you're able to flip it back over again. Every player also gets a reference card, which shows you what you can do on your turn. As you can see, I'm setting up for a 2-player game. Next, you'll put all of your dice in the dice bag, as I've done here. Yeah, they're in there. And now you're going to take the flatline card and shuffle it in with 2 stable cards. And then you'll take the rest of the vital signs deck and you'll shuffle that up as well. Once you're done shuffling those up, you'll place them on top of the 3 cards that contain the flatline card. And you'll place that right over here. Next, we'll form separate decks for the item, totem, and clue cards over here. And then we'll place the hostile and status cards over here on this side of the board. And the ID entity cards will go down here. Separate the different types of tokens. Next, we'll look through the ID entity deck and remove 2 of the fear cards. We won't be needing these. Shuffle the remaining cards and reveal 5. Banish the remaining ID entity cards to the box. They won't be a part of this adventure. We'll now collect the Coma Zone cards for each revealed ID entity using the symbol shown here. And I'll match them up. Coma Zones are locations in Dr. Strobel's mind that you can travel to. Next, you will randomly choose one of these Coma Zones to be your starting location. And I'm gonna choose this one, the Nosy Kids. Once you've chosen your Coma Zone, it will tell you what page of the adventure book to start on. You'll place all of your collected Coma Zone cards in a face-up row next to the storybook. This is going to form your nexus. Collect the totem card that corresponds with each Coma Zone in your nexus, and you can find that location name under the title of the totem card. Once you've found your 5 totem cards, you'll place this new deck next to the nexus. You won't need the other totem cards for this game, so they can go back in the box. Next, you will find the ID entity associated with the starting Coma Zone. Nosy Kids is in Coma Zone 2, and that shows us that resentment is in this Coma Zone. Shuffle the remaining 4 ID entity cards. Make sure you don't look at them. This has to be a secret from now on. We're going to choose a prime inner demon for this adventure, and I'm going to choose this one. And we're going to look at the 7-digit number located on the back. Don't look at the front. That has to be a secret. And now we're going to go into the clue card deck, and we're going to find the 5 clue cards that have the same number on the back of them. Once you have found your 5 clue cards, you will place them on top of the prime inner demon's card, and you will stick that over to the side. We'll now take the remaining ID entity cards, including the starting ID entity card, and shuffle them up. And we'll place them up at the top of the board next to the enemy deck, because we may encounter these demons throughout the adventure and have to throw down with them. Next, we'll deal 2 random avatar cards face down onto the avatar slot of each player's sheet. And then the players will get to choose who they want their starting avatar to be. I'll have this player be O, and this player be Bridget. I love O. He was Martin's teddy bear as a child, and he's so cute and lovable. I hope he doesn't die. You'll now place 3 heart tokens on your avatar's card. Collect your avatar's standee, and collect any items your avatar has equipped. O doesn't have any. Bridget has a jump gun. Next, check if your avatar is suspicious in this Coma Zone. We're in Coma Zone 2, so we'll check on our avatar's card. Bridget is not suspicious, and neither is O. If your avatar was suspicious, you would add a suspicious token to their card. Choose a player to be the bookkeeper, aka first player, and give them the bookmark. I'm playing favorites, and I'm going to give this to O. Finally, place the sideboard next to the adventure book and slide the situation token into the bottom slot, safe side up. The play area is now set up, and you're ready to start your adventure as a Comanaut. Read the starting narrative page, which will give you some story and a general goal for this Coma Zone, with ours being, follow the mystery deeper into the amusement park. You'll then turn the page, which will be your gameplay area. Follow the short setup listed at the top. We're going to place our avatars on the starting space. Place the search tokens on the indicated spaces. And in this Coma Zone, there's an environment card of water. Environment cards give us reminders of how certain rules work. And I'll place the environment card next to the board so that we'll remember that there is a special rule during this page. In addition to meeting your goal, you're going to be exploring this Coma Zone, trying to find clues that'll help you locate the Prime Inner Demon. In the setup section, there may be other special rules as well, with this one telling us how to get past the gate. That was all the setup for 15.1 here. Do not move on to 15.2. Never read a section of the storybook unless you are specifically instructed to do so, because that would be a spoiler. We're going to fast forward through the game now. Our avatars are in a different Coma Zone, and the storybook has just told us to have an encounter with officers 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to go to the enemy deck and find those officers. And now I'll need to find their standees. You can see on the enemy cards that it shows the number of the standees, 18, 19, and 20. The adventure book instructs me to place these standees on the space with the gear icon. And then you will put the enemy cards next to the sideboard here. Now I'm going to go over things you can do on your turn. O's the bookkeeper, so he's going to take his turn first. You'll draw 5 dice out of the bag. Any white dice you draw will gain you clarity. Simply roll it, and if you roll equal to or above the number of clarity tokens you have on your player sheet, you'll get a clarity. O has 0 right now, so he will gain a clarity, and the dice will go in the discard pool. Clarity tokens can be used to re-roll your dice in the game. Or if you have 3 of them, you can spend them in order to activate your avatar's special ability. Next, you'll place any black dice you have on the threat track. There are 2 types of black dice in this game. Some that have white pips and some that have red pips. The ones with the white pips always get placed on the threat track. But the ones with the red pips only get placed if your avatar is suspicious in this Coma Zone. But since O is not suspicious in this Coma Zone, this will get thrown back in the bag. The next step is to place the inner child, which only happens if you pull the blue translucent die out of the bag. You'll roll the die and then place it on the inner child space on the sideboard. Then you'll reveal a vital signs card. This is stable, so nothing happens. A critical vital sign would cause us to complete this section of the storybook. If the current map page has a bunny symbol on it, place the inner child standee on top of it. Now your avatar has the opportunity to interact with Martin Strobel's inner child. If the map does not have a bunny symbol on it, you do not place the standee. Now you can use your attribute dice to perform actions. You can focus, which allows you to discard any 2 attribute dice for any 1 attribute dice of your choice from the discard pool. Another action you can do is move. You can discard any colored attribute dice to move across a dotted white line. You can never move through solid white lines. Those are walls, and you don't have that superpower. Now to move across a solid colored line, you would need to use the attribute dice of that color, or a purple, because purple is wild. Boop, 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 boop. One other thing to note about moving is that if you ever try to flee an area with an enemy in it, you will have to use a green dice or a purple dice in order to leave. It acts as if there's a green line surrounding that area, trying to keep you in with the enemy. On your turn, you may also reserve an attribute dice by placing it on your player sheet here. Now you can use this die to defend yourself against attacking enemies or to use on a future turn. You can also encourage other players by giving them an attribute dice to store on their sheet. You might want to do this if you think the player is going to get attacked before their next turn, or if you think they might need a specific colored die during their next turn. I'm giving Bridget this yellow die because I see some search tokens that she might want to explore. We moved O onto this space with a point of interest. So we're going to read the matching adventure book entry for the eyeball with the 2. I don't want to ruin the story here, but it says something oogie spooky happens and I need to activate my status card. Because I got spooked out and now I'm distraught. O's out of dice, so let's draw some for Bridget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Bridget found a huge club earlier that she'd been using for some melee attacks. But now she's probably going to want to switch that out with her melee weapon that she has in her inventory, which is called an equip action. So I'm going to use a die and throw it in the discard pool and just swap them out. I couldn't have both of these weapons equipped at the same time because they both equip to the hand slot. So the huge club is going back into inventory. Now, if I were in the same space as O, I could use a die to hand him that huge club or give him any other item I have in my inventory. That's called a trade action. Sometimes the adventure book may throw a skill test at you. It'll tell you the type and difficulty of that test. For example, it may be a green agility test, difficulty 3. So in that case, I would roll 1 or 2 of my dice and try to beat a 3. And bam, I would have beat it because I rolled a 9. In that case, I would have read the success section in the adventure book. If I would have rolled under a 3, I would have read the fail section. In addition, group tasks will sometimes be available for your Comanauts to perform. These are similar to skill tests, but allow all members of your party to contribute dice by rolling them and adding them to the group task track. Once the number on the group task track equals or exceeds the number of the group task, you will read the success section in the storybook. You can never fail a group task unless you choose not to do it. Another thing you can do on your turn is attack. And since there are some baddies on the board, that's exactly what Bridget is going to do. She has a ranged weapon that has a range of 2, and she is 2 spaces away from these officers. Plus, she has some green ranged dice, so she's going to do it. Now, these officers are normally just friendly citizens of this world, but they've turned against us in this story. Like white blood cells attack foreign bodies. You're foreign to Martin's mind, so they're going to attack us. So my jump gun gives +1 to each green die, and Bridget gives +1 to each purple die. But I don't have any purple dice, I've just got green. So I'm going to roll both of those to attack the closest officer to me. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As you can see here, his defense is 8. So I got him with my 10. And he disappears. And his card goes back in the enemy deck. And my dice go in the discard pool. If I would have had a red dice, I could have done a melee attack. So I would have moved her, boop, boop, and then attacked with my red dice. Now I don't have a melee weapon equipped, but I still could have attacked him with my fists, and I would have punched him. That wasn't good. That was a 2. I swung and I missed, but I tried. If the number of the dice on the threat track is equal to or greater than the number of enemies on the board, they get a turn. Which, looky here, 2 dice, 2 enemies, it's their turn. Officer 1 is at the top of the threat track, so he'll go first. Take his die and roll it. Okay, he rolled a 1, so let me show you how he's gonna move. A 1 to 4 roll is a freeze attack, so he's not gonna move any, and he has a range of 3. He's gonna go after the closest avatar, which is Bridget, since she is now in the same space as him. So he'll do 7 damage, but he has a special ability here that says double the result on yellow or purple dice rolled to defend against this attack. And Bridget has a yellow die stored that she is going to defend with, so this number will be doubled. She rolled a 12, so he misses and the die goes back on Bridget's sheet. If she hadn't been able to defend, she would have lost this die plus a heart token. His die is now in the discard pool. Next, Officer 2 would go, but we're gonna skip that and pretend like he already went. So this will go in the discard pool. So since the enemy's turn is now over, all of these dice in the discard pool will go back into the bag. Okay, now we're back to O's turn, and he's gonna get 5 dice out of the bag. And the black one goes on the enemy track. And I'm gonna move O over to search. There's a white line here, remember, you can't move through that. We'll use the green die to move there. And then we'll move over here and boop, into the kitchen. And then we're gonna search. To search, you have to use a yellow die. But I don't have a yellow die. But I do have this purple wild die. So I gotta roll it. And 4 or higher lets you search. And I got a 4. So I'm gonna discard this die and discard this search token. And that successful search lets me gain one of the items listed here in the adventure book under the search icon. Frying pan, warm cookies, or plain clothes. You know I gotta get them warm cookies. Oh, so what these warm cookies do is let me kind of bribe Martin's inner child with them because they smell so good. And he's gonna give me a clue that'll help me locate the prime inner demon. Remember kids, always trust a stranger with cookies. So I can go ahead and equip this to O because you can have up to 3 items in your backpack, and that's where these cookies go. And for my last die, I'm just gonna move O closer to Martin's inner child so I can get that brab going. That's the end of his turn, so we would check the threat level to see if the enemies are gonna attack us again. There's only 1 die and 2 enemies on the board, so we're good. Okay, fast forward again. We gave Martin's inner child some warm cookies, and now he's gonna give us a clue as to who the prime inner demon is. So we take a card off of the clue deck, and it says, you have a strange encounter. You see a single shoe lying on the ground. It is a crimson woman's shoe with a slight heel to it, and you know it belongs to Miranda. Gone in such a hurry, you say to no one. Gain a totem card from the prepared totem deck. So this is a clue as to which prime inner demon we are looking for. Could it be resentment, grief, selfishness, regret, pride? Gone in such a hurry, you say to no one. That sounds like regret to me. So I'm going to take a totem from the totem deck. I'm going to take the pocket watch from New Metro City. It's where the prime inner demon, regret, lives. And I think that's who we're going after based off of this clue. And the pocket watch says, you must be occupying an inner child space to use this card. At the end of your turn, the party immediately travels to page 73. O is on the inner child space because he was bribing him with those warm cookies. It's the end of my turn, so that means we can travel to page 73 now. Boom! So now we're in New Metro City, and we're gonna fast forward again until we're here, the Leviathan. And we read the storybook, which tells us to find and defeat regret. So we go over to section 79.3 because it tells us to, and we read the setup. It says to place the avatars on the entry space. And the environment is traverse, which tells us how to use the arrow spaces on the board. And next we're going to encounter the demon 1601341. Regret, the drowning Leviathan. So now let's check our demon deck to see if regret's in there. It's not here, which means boom, boom, boom. Yep, our prime inner demon, 1601341. Regret. So now we'll take his ID card and we'll place it on the threat track. Then we'll take Regret's standee. Look how big and gruesome he is. Martin's regret must be out of control. We gotta defeat him. First, we gotta place him on the board, right here. Now, because regret is the prime ID, he'll get extra heart tokens equal to the number of players on the board. So he'll get 2 more that we'll have to knock off before we defeat him. If we defeat regret, we'll be successful and we'll get to read the successful entry in the adventure book. But if at any time we draw the flatline card from the vital signs deck, that means Martin's gone and you lost and you failed the entire world. The other 2 ways that you can fail at this game is if there are no more avatars out on the board, or if one player loses all of their avatars. So if O would have bit the dust, I would have had Win. And if Win would have bit the dust, I would have Captain Continuum. But if he died, we all die. You're now equipped to go on this adventure. Don't fail us. Save Martin. Save the world.